You wake before the light comes, not because of a dream, but because the cold has crept in through the thin wool blanket and settled in your bones. The fire in the parlor downstairs must be out, or dwindling to embers. You lie still for a moment, eyes closed, breathing slowly, listening. There's no bird song. This is London in winter, but you hear the faint creak of pipes, the crackle of settling floorboards, and Lily's breathing in the bed beside yours. Soft and steady. The way she sleeps always sounds like the sea. You try to let it lull you back down, but the chill has already found your toes. You don't know what day it is. Not exactly. It doesn't matter. There are no Sundays here. Only quiet mornings, measured footsteps, and the thin line between being someone and being something. You shift beneath the blanket and remember, as you always do when waking, this is Mary's bed. But Mary isn't the name your mother gave you. That name, softer and smaller, has no place in this house. Mary is who you are here. And today, like all days, begins whether you're ready or not. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And I'd love to know, where are you listening from, and what time is it right now where you are? Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You stretch out beneath the blanket, pointing your toes until your legs tremble with it. That's better. A long breath, in and out, and you sit up slowly, letting the worn wool slide down to your lap. The air bites at your skin. There's a shawl hanging on the bedpost, gray, a little scratchy, but warm enough, and you pull it around your shoulders with practiced hands. Lily murmurs something in her sleep and shifts, pulling the blanket tighter around her shoulders. She won't wake for a while yet. The room smells of lavender water, but it can't quite cover the musty damp in the wallpaper. It's a familiar scent now. A mixture of coal smoke, faded perfume, cold air, and whatever dreams were lost on the pillow overnight. The wallpaper is floral, peeling slightly at the corners. Your bed creaks as you move. The mattress is stuffed with horsehair and memory. Everything in this room has been used, reused, mended, touched by dozens of hands before yours. But this little corner of it is yours now. A half space of ownership, even if it's borrowed. There's a pitcher on the table between the beds. You reach for it. The water inside has a delicate skin of ice. You press a finger to it, breaking the surface with a sharp sting. You splash some onto your face, gasping as the cold hits. That breath, sharp, involuntary, clears your thoughts faster than any cup of coffee. You glance toward the window. It's not much of a view, just the next row of buildings and the grayish sky, but London is already stirring. You hear the cartwheels, the clipped rhythm of hooves, someone shouting about bread a few streets away. The day begins without you. You sit a little longer. There's no rush yet. Not in this moment. The shawl hugs your shoulders like a memory of someone's arms. You run your thumb along its frayed edge, thinking not about the day ahead, but about the day behind you, the countless yesterdays that brought you here, and how, even now, you're not entirely sure which one was the turning point. You weren't stolen. You weren't seduced and left to starve. You weren't even tricked, not really. You were a seamstress, a good one. Quick hands, neat stitches. You had a steady enough job in a room of your own, small and unheated, up 3 flights of stairs behind a bakery. You remember your fingers cracking in the cold, the blood from a needle prick blooming on linen like a tiny red rose. You remember working by lamplight, squinting, teeth clenched, belly aching with hunger. There were always too many girls like you, always more than the city had use for. And then Jane came by. She used to work in the same shop before she found something better. She wore a wool dress and real shoes that day. She brought a hot meat pie too, still warm, wrapped in thick brown paper. You ate it too fast, tried not to seem as desperate as you were, but she noticed. "There's a house," she said, "near Haymarket. The madam's strict but not cruel. 2 meals a day. Decent bed. They check your health. You'd make in a night what you make in a week here, Mary. And you wouldn't be killing yourself over a hemline." You didn't answer right away. You just looked at the sewing piled in your lap. You could hardly feel your fingers. You'd been raised right. A quiet chapel girl in a quiet country town. But your parents were dead. Your brother's gone. Your roof leaked, and your bones ached from cold and hunger. You remember the way Jane watched you that day, not with pity, but with a kind of worn-out kindness. She didn't press, just left the rest of the pie behind. The room around you now, the brothel, the mattress, the lavender, the name Mary, it all started with that pie. Or maybe with the hunger before it. You take another breath. Steady now. The cold has settled into your toes, but it's tolerable. You stand, bare feet on the splintered wood. Reach for your petticoat. Today is Tuesday, which means a slower morning. The others won't be up just yet. A creak on the stair, heavy, deliberate. Likely Mrs. Winters, the housekeeper, making her first round. Coal in the parlor, coffee brewing. The smell drifts up faintly. Real coffee, not chicory. The house takes pride in small luxuries. That's part of the illusion. Part of what makes this not just a roof and a bed, but something more livable, almost respectable. You glance at Lily again. She's curled into herself, one hand tucked beneath her cheek. Just 19. Her hair is auburn, the kind gentlemen tend to notice. She used to work in a factory in Manchester. The looms were so loud they stole the hearing in her left ear. She still leans slightly when you talk, unconsciously turning the good side toward you. You pull your shawl tighter, step toward the basin, and begin washing up properly. One movement at a time. No rush, no voice calling your name yet. This is your moment. This is the space before the performance begins. You dry your face with the towel, rough, thin, but warm, from being wrapped around the pitcher overnight. It smells faintly of soap and lavender. You breathe it in, letting the scent settle over your senses. Cleanliness here isn't just comfort. It's preparation. Not for yourself, but for how you'll be seen. You reach for your dress, the one you wear in the mornings. Plain navy blue, wool softened with age, the hem mended 3 times. It doesn't mark you out as anything more than an ordinary working woman. And that here is safety. The corset you laced loosely, just enough to provide structure, not the tighter evening cinch. For now, your body is your own. Flexible, breathing, soft where it wants to be. As you dress, your fingers move out of habit. Stockings, petticoat, bodice, laces. You don't think about the process anymore. It's a kind of choreography, one you've repeated every day for 2 years. Downstairs, the house begins to wake. You hear the clatter of iron on iron, coal being loaded into the stove. The low hum of voices in the kitchen. Someone, probably cook, laughs, short and sharp, at something Mrs. Winters has said. Betsy's footsteps patter across the floorboards like a cat. She moves faster than you'd expect for a girl who barely reaches your shoulder. You take your time. there's still the small ritual of preparing your face. You sit at the table, where the mirror rests against the wall. It's a cheap thing. Its silver backing spotted and warped, but it holds just enough truth for your needs. You study your reflection. The face looking back is not unfamiliar. In fact, it's too familiar. The cheeks have rounded a little, no longer as gaunt as they were during your seamstress days. The eyes are darker now, not in color, always brown, but in gaze. They've learned to observe, to assess, to soften or sharpen depending on who's watching. You smooth your eyebrows, press a finger to a faint line above your brow, then let it go. No powders yet, no rouge, not until evening. Instead, you take the small tin of beeswax from the drawer and warm a bit between your fingertips before rubbing it gently over your lips. It keeps them from cracking. It's also habit. It's also armor. A soft knock at the door. "Hot water, miss," comes the voice. "Betsy." You cross the room and open it. She's standing there, holding a steaming jug with both hands, her cheeks flushed from the kitchen heat. Her brown hair is neatly braided, her dress clean and slightly too big. "Morning, Miss Mary," she says brightly. "Cook made porridge with treacle today. There's coffee, too. Fresh bread. Thank you, Betsy." You take the jug, its warmth immediately welcome in your hands. She lingers for just a second, eyes flicking around the room with quiet curiosity, then looks back at you. "Snow's coming," she adds. "Mrs. Winters says it'll start before noon." You nod. "Get yourself some of that porridge before it's gone." "I will, miss." She gives you a grin and scurries off. Betsy's too young for the work the rest of you do, and Mrs. Cartwright intends to keep her that way, for a few more years at least. She helps in the kitchen, runs errands, and sleeps in a narrow room off the pantry. The other girls try not to talk business in front of her. Not that she doesn't already understand far more than she should. You close the door gently and set the jug down. The steam curls up into the air, catching the morning light. You pour some into the basin and begin the real washing. First your face, then your neck, behind your ears, under your arms, between your legs. Quick but thorough. Twice a week, there's a full bath when the copper tub is brought into the kitchen. Today isn't one of those days, but this moment, is still yours. When you're finished, you feel human again. You comb your hair, parting it neatly, pulling it into a loose knot at the nape of your neck. In the evening, you'll pin in curls and add the false volume with a hairpiece, but now, simplicity is best. A single pin, a tidy line. Your boots are last, sturdy, worn smooth where your toes press. You lace them slowly, methodically, each tug of the leather grounding you, just a little more. When you stand, the room feels slightly warmer. Or maybe it's just that you've found your rhythm again. A sound from behind you. Lily is stirring, pulling the blanket off her face and blinking at the light. "Morning," you say softly. She groans, rubbing at her eyes. Too early. It's nearly 7. She yawns, hair wild, cheeks still creased with sleep. Had that dream again. The seaside. She nods, sitting up and swinging her legs over the edge of the bed. There were shells everywhere, white ones. The water was so blue, it didn't even look real. Maybe it wasn't, you say, but gently. You're not trying to take it from her. She smiles anyway, crooked and half awake. "Have you ever been?" You think for a moment. "Once, when I was small, Brighton. I remember the wind more than anything else. I want to go someday," she says quietly. "Get out of London. Just for a little while." You say what you always say. You will. even though you both know how hard it is to save. There's always something. A ripped hem, a visit to the apothecary, a friend who needs a shilling more than you. Money slips away here like steam through your fingers, but still, you say it. And still, she nods. You glance toward the hallway. The scent of coffee is stronger now, the sounds below more purposeful. The day is beginning in earnest. "I'll see you downstairs," you tell her, reaching for the door. "Don't be too long," she calls after you. Mrs. Winters is already stomping about. You smile as you pull the door closed. The hallway is dim, the carpet worn thin in the middle. 4 other bedrooms line the floor, each one similar to yours, each one with its own rhythm of waking, of silence, of dreams half remembered. The stairs creak underfoot, wood bending with memory. You run your hand along the banister, polished smooth by years of hands like yours. Below, the house breathes. There's firelight flickering under the kitchen door, the smell of bread, the low murmur of women moving through their morning tasks. And you, just one step at a time, descend into the warm hush of the waking day. The kitchen is the warmest room in the house, always has been. The fire's already going strong in the stove, and cook stands over it with her sleeves rolled to the elbows, stirring something thick and fragrant. Her broad back moves rhythmically with each stroke of the wooden spoon. The air smells like porridge, fresh bread, and the barest hint of bacon frying somewhere out of sight. Betsy is setting the table in the corner where the girls and servants eat together. 8 chairs squeezed around a scarred wooden table that looks like it was built in another century and meant to last through 3 more. "Morning, Mary," says cook without turning around. She never needs to see who enters to know who it is. Somehow, she hears each person's step, like a fingerprint in rhythm. "Morning," you reply, your voice a little husky from the cold air upstairs. You move to help Betsy with the plates, plain white ceramic, some with hairline cracks that have been there longer than you. Her hands are quick but careful. You don't speak much as you work. The quiet of the morning still clings to both of you like a second shawl. Mrs. Winters sits near the hearth, her spectacles perched low on her nose as she reads a letter with the stern focus of someone trying not to react to its contents. Her gray hair is twisted into a tight bun, hidden beneath a clean white cap. She looks up briefly, nods at you, then returns to the page. It's peaceful, familiar. This hour before customers begin arriving, before names become transactions and bodies become instruments. The kitchen at this time is yours. You settle into your usual chair, third from the end, beside the place Lily always takes. The wood is smooth beneath your fingers, worn by time and hundreds of other women who have sat just like this, in just this spot, hoping the day ahead would be a gentle one. Cook ladles out the porridge, thick and creamy, with a swirl of golden treacle on top. A small luxury, that sweetness. You thank her, lift the bowl close, and breathe in the steam. The first bite is hot, just shy of scalding but comforting. It fills you quickly, settling into your belly like warmth made solid. The coffee comes next, strong and slightly bitter, with just enough sweetness to keep it from biting back. You wrap your hands around the cup, letting the heat seep into your fingers. The cup is heavier than it looks, mismatched from the others, and that small imperfection makes it feel more personal. You've used it often enough that it feels like yours, even if it belongs to the house. The others filter in gradually. Emily, still tying the ribbon in her hair as she enters. Sarah, already dressed neatly, nods at you as she sits down and helps herself to bread. Josephine arrives last, her face pale, eyes still rimmed faintly red. She sits quietly, not speaking, cradling her cup like it might steady her. Then Lily arrives, cheeks flushed from her quick walk down the stairs, hair pinned haphazardly but charming in its looseness. She drops into the chair beside you with a soft exhale. "Nearly missed breakfast," you murmur as you slide the porridge pot toward her. "Worth it," she says, still catching her breath, "for 10 extra minutes in that warm bed." You smile without answering. The warmth of the room has seeped into your shoulders now, softening the places where tension hides. Conversation stays light. No one talks about work yet. Not this early. Instead, it drifts around the weather, the quality of the treacle, the rumor that the butcher's boy slipped on ice yesterday while carrying a full pig carcass. Sarah tells it with such dry delivery that it takes a moment for the humor to land. But when it does, laughter bubbles softly around the table. It's not loud, just enough to feel like morning is allowed to begin without dread. You eat slowly, savoring the rare fullness. The food here is plain, but solid. It holds you through the day, helps you feel less hollow. A silence settles after the first round of food is finished. It's not awkward, just the kind of quiet that comes naturally when mouths are full and hearts are resting. The kitchen is still warm, still glowing softly with firelight and the pale bloom of dawn through the curtains. You take another sip of coffee. Betsy collects empty bowls with a practiced sweep. She doesn't need to be asked. Mrs. Winters folds her letter and tucks it into her apron pocket with a sigh. Then she stands, brushing off her skirt, and announces, "We've got the doctor in this morning, ladies. So let's be prompt. Josephine, you'll be first. There's no resistance. Just a few nods. The routine is known." Josephine looks up, startled, then nods quickly, her spoon halfway to her lips. She sets it down with care, folds her napkin, and rises from the table. The small creak in the floorboard behind her marks her exit. No one says anything. You reach for a slice of fresh bread, still warm from the oven, and tear off a corner. The crust is golden, the center soft. Another small luxury. Lily nudges you with her elbow, lightly. "Any plans for the afternoon?" You shrug. "Maybe a bit of shopping? I need more hairpins. Paper too. Pick me up another spool of black thread?" she asks. You nod. "Anything else?" She thinks for a moment, then smiles, embarrassed. "Jam tart. If you see one, you grin." Of course, it's these little exchanges, you realize, that anchor your days. These quiet gestures. The way someone passes the butter without needing to be asked. The way Betsy remembers who likes milk in their coffee and who doesn't. The way Lily tucks your hair behind your ear if it comes loose during a story. Here, in this room, you are not your job. Not yet. The conversation resumes, slowly, as the fire shifts and the smells of breakfast fade. But something stays behind in the warmth. A kind of unspoken grace. A breath shared between women who know what it means to survive. When you finally stand, your legs feel steady, your belly full. The day ahead waits, sure as ever. But for now, you've had your moment. You've had your coffee, your laughter, your bread still warm from the oven. And that, quietly, simply, is enough. The breakfast table gradually empties, chairs scraping softly against the floor, voices dropping to murmurs as the girls scatter toward their morning tasks. You linger a little longer, letting your coffee go cold in the cup as you savor the final sips. Then you rise, take your plate and mug to the basin, and begin the gentle shift into work. Your morning duties are simple. Dust the parlor, polish the glasses in the cabinet, Check that everything's in its proper place. There's a rhythm to it all. Tasks not assigned to punish or burden, but to give structure. To fill the long, empty hours between meals and men, the parlor waits quietly for you. Its heavy red curtains drawn halfway back to let in what meager light the coal gray London sky provides. The velvet on the chairs is faded at the arms, but still soft under your fingertips. You run the feather duster gently over the mantel, clearing away soot and ash, pausing to straighten a china shepherdess who always seems to lean too far to the left. The scent in the room is a mix of old wood, fabric, and faint cherry brandy. There's a fire set in the grate, though not yet lit, and the cold has settled into the cushions like a sigh. It makes your fingers ache slightly, and you blow into them, warming the tips before moving on. You dust the frames of the paintings next, small landscapes, harmless and dull, meant to suggest gentility without drawing too much attention. Nothing vulgar, nothing that says what this place really is. That's important. If the police ever enter, they must find nothing more than a private home. Respectable, quiet. When the dusting is done, you kneel before the small bar cabinet and open it. Inside, a dozen glasses, 3 bottles of brandy, and 1 of sherry. You take out the glasses and begin to polish them, one by one, with a soft cloth. Each has a delicate curve, and you cradle them carefully, exhaling onto the surface before rubbing it in slow, circular motions. Breathe in, circle. Breathe out, circle. The motion is hypnotic. Your breathing aligns with it naturally, like a lullaby for your hands. You work slowly, not out of laziness, but because you can. There's no rush. Afternoon customers don't arrive until after lunch, if at all. Mornings are yours, in a way that nights can never be. The glass in your hand catches a faint shaft of light from the window. It refracts across your knuckles, casting small rainbow arcs that fade just as quickly as they come. You pause to watch one disappear across the back of your hand. It reminds you, strangely, of childhood. Sunlight on water, the glint of river stones, the flash of a fishtail vanishing into mud. You blink, and the moment slips away. When the last glass is polished and replaced, you fold the cloth neatly and tuck it back into the drawer. The parlor looks the same as it did an hour ago, and yet, somehow, it's ready now, still expectant. You move through the house toward the kitchen. The noise there has changed. Less laughter now, more direction. Mrs. Winters is overseeing the preparation for lunch, and Betsy is peeling carrots with careful focus, tongue pressed against her lip in concentration. "Parlor's done," you say. Mrs. Winters glances up. Then you've time for your washing, before the snow starts. You nod. The house linens, towels, sheets, are handled by Therese, who comes on Thursdays. But your personal things, the cloths, the stockings, the underthings, those are your own responsibility. You fetch your basket from the cupboard in the scullery. The cloths inside are wrinkled, some faintly stained, others simply worn from use. You don't judge them. They've done their job, as you have. The scullery is cool, its stone floor colder still beneath your boots. You pump water into the large basin, then fetch a kettle from the stove to warm it. The mixing of hot and cold sends up curls of steam, soft and clean. You kneel beside the basin and begin to scrub. The soap stings your knuckles, raw from the cold, but you work carefully. Rub, rinse, wring, repeat. The motions are simple. The work is private. No one watches. The water clouds quickly, small soap bubbles catching the morning light. You find beauty in them, even as your fingers go numb. Eventually, The basket is full of damp, clean fabric. You stand, wring out your hands, and carry it through the back door. The courtyard behind the kitchen is small, a rectangle of stone with a single crooked clothesline strung from post to post. The air hits your face sharply, and you pull your shawl tighter. But it's dry. No snow yet. You pin each item one by one, fingers clumsy with cold, but determined. Each cloth lifts slightly in the breeze, fluttering like a signal to some world beyond this one. A quiet message. I am here. I exist. I wash. I work. When the last piece is secured, you pause. You look up. The sky is low and pale, a sheet of cloud with no depth. But it's open. It's there. For once, no roof above you, no ceiling, just air. You close your eyes and tilt your face to the wind. It smells of coal smoke and city dust, but also of winter, of change. You breathe in slowly. The cold fills your chest, clean, bracing, real. This too is yours. Not a gift, not a luxury, not even a right, but a moment, and no one can take it from you. The door creaks open behind you. Doctor's nearly done with Josephine, Lily calls out. You're next. You turn, eyes still half closed. Anything interesting up there? She asks, teasing. You glance at the sky again. Just the usual, you say. Clouds, sun, freedom. She snorts, but her smile is soft. Come in before you freeze. Mrs. Winters says cook's making those currant buns you like. That's enough. You follow her inside, back into the warmth. But even as the door shuts behind you, you keep a sliver of that outside air with you. In your lungs, in your blood. You are under the sky, just for a while. And that, quietly, wordlessly, is enough. You follow Lily up the stairs, each step colder than the last now that your hands are still damp from the washing. She leads you to the spare bedroom where the doctor always sets up. The door is ajar. Inside, the curtains have been drawn open, letting in a gray midday light that makes everything look bleached and flat. Your skin, the linen on the table, even the mahogany chair by the hearth. Josephine slips past you in the hallway, her eyes low, mouth tight. She doesn't speak, only nods a little. Her arms are crossed, her back too straight. You want to say something, anything kind, but the moment passes too fast. She's already gone, her soft tread swallowed by the creaking boards. You step inside. Dr. Harrison is already washing his hands at the basin. He's younger than most expect, mid-30s, clean-shaven, polite but distant in the way of men who've learned that detachment is safer than pity. Mary, he says without looking up. Come in. Sit. You do. The air smells of vinegar and old cloth. The room is tidy but stripped of comfort. A folded towel rests on the table beside a small tin tray of tools. A tongue depressor, a speculum, a pair of thin gloves. Beside them, a notebook bound in cracked leather. Any complaints since your last visit? He asks as he dries his hands. You shake your head. No, sir. Any pain? Fever? Unusual discharge? No, sir. He nods, steps over to the table, gestures for you to stand beside it, lift your skirts, lie back. You do as you're told, movements practiced now. You lift your woolen dress, the cotton shift beneath, and settle back onto the cold linen sheet. The chill seeps through to your spine. You don't flinch. Not anymore. He works silently, quick, clean, clinical. No cruelty, but no softness either. The cold metal instrument enters, turns. You count your breaths. 1, 2, 3, done. There's a gentle click as he sets it aside. No inflammation, he says. No lesions, no ulcers. You nod, though he's not really speaking to you. More to himself. More to the notebook. He checks your pulse, presses your abdomen. listens to your lungs with a thin brass tube, asks again about fever, coughing, weight loss. You shake your head each time. He scribbles something into his notes, then finally looks you in the eye. Keep drinking water. Be careful with the new clients. If anything feels off, say so. You nod again. Get dressed. He turns to wash his hands once more. You sit up slowly, smooth your skirts, adjust your shift. Your movements are careful, not out of shame, but of habit. There's a way to put yourself back together, a way to close the body like a book. He finishes washing and dries his hands without turning. You're clear, he says. Next visit in 2 weeks, unless something comes up. Thank you, doctor. He nods without looking. You step out into the hallway again and breathe deep, as if your lungs had been kept waiting outside the whole time. The hallway is quiet now. The faint creak of the roof beams above the only sound. Josephine is gone, and the next girl hasn't come up yet. You pause, your hand on the banister, and glance toward the window at the end of the corridor. It's snowing. Fine flakes fall past the pane, slow and steady, softening the edges of the rooftops across the way. London's slate chimneys and narrow windows blur gently under the white veil. The world feels paused, suspended in cotton. You stay there a moment longer than you need to. Just watching, just breathing. By the time you return to your room, Lily's curled on her bed, book open but unread in her lap. Was it awful? She asks. You shake your head. Not really. She closes the book. Josephine came back pale. She's always pale. No, Lily says. Today she was quiet. You say nothing. Neither of you does. The unspoken lies thicken the air. You sit down and begin undoing the buttons on your sleeves, letting the room come back around you. There's a knock. Betsy's voice. Lunch is ready. You look at Lily. She shrugs. We should go. Downstairs, the table is already full. Mrs. Winters has placed the currant buns in a basket in the center, their tops golden and slightly sticky with glaze. The girls dig in with soft hums of pleasure. No one says much, but the atmosphere has lightened somehow. You sit beside Sarah, who's dividing her bun evenly with a butter knife like it's an equation. You all right? She asks without looking. You nod. Doctor says I'm fine. Good, she replies, and means it. You take a bun, tear it in half. The scent of dried fruit and warm sugar fills your nose. You chew slowly, the taste oddly comforting. It reminds you of Sundays, of bakeries, of simpler hungers. Halfway through the meal, Josephine appears again. She's freshly dressed, hair braided, lips colored with a hint of rouge. Her shoulders are squared, her step firm. She sits beside Emily, who touches her hand for just a second under the table. Josephine doesn't speak. She doesn't need to. The moment is understood. You sip your tea, letting the warmth flood your chest. Outside, the snow continues to fall, blanketing the street and muffling the usual clatter of wheels and hooves. It's quiet in a way London rarely is. You think, just for a second, that the whole city is holding its breath. And somehow, that feels like a kindness. After lunch, the house settles into its softest silence, the kind that folds over the walls like a heavy wool blanket, thick, muffled, warm. Some of the girls nap. Others write letters or mend stockings. The fireplace in the parlor crackles low and steady, and the sound of snow ticking against the windows is the only hint of the world outside. But you don't stay in. You pull on your cloak, slip your coin purse into your pocket, and tell Mrs. Winters you're stepping out for errands. She nods. Don't be long. The sleet's coming. The streets outside are quieter than usual. Snow has painted the cobbles in patchy white, and your boots crunch lightly as you walk. London smells different in winter. Less of smoke, more of wet brick and iron. The air bites at your cheeks and numbs your fingertips, but you welcome it. It clears your head like nothing else can. You pass the usual shops on Haymarket, the milliner's with her velvet-trimmed window displays, the pawnbroker's with its sad parade of forgotten things. A man with a barrel organ plays a tune near the corner, slow and sweet, while a child beside him dances with red cheeks and mismatched mittens. You pause outside the bakery, its window fogged from the heat within. Inside, trays of buns and loaves steam gently in the golden light. You step in and buy a tart for Lily, as promised, and one for yourself, though you tell yourself it's only fair. The warmth inside the shop is brief but generous. It clings to you as you step back out into the cold, packages wrapped in brown paper beneath your arm. You stop next at a haberdasher's for the thread. The clerk is polite, if indifferent, and hands you the spool without meeting your eye. You don't take offense. Most shopkeepers in this part of town know where the girls from the house come from. Some pretend not to. Others pretend not to care. You've learned to live within both types of silence. As you walk, you let your pace slow. The city isn't in a hurry today. Even the horses move with care, hooves slipping slightly on the slush. You pass a row of chimney pots trailing smoke into the gray above, and a line of laundry frozen stiff between two buildings. Shirts and petticoats turned into wind chimes of cloth and frost. Eventually, you reach your favorite corner, a narrow little alley that opens into a pocket-sized park with a crooked bench and one determined tree. No one else is there, just you, the cold and the soft sigh of snow landing gently on old stone. You sit. The bench creaks beneath your weight. You unwrap the tart, blackberry, tart, and sweet, and take a bite. The sugar sticks to your lips. It tastes like something you don't get to have often. Time to be still, to taste, to breathe. For a while, you just watch the world move without you. A dog trots past, nose low to the ground, tail swinging like a pendulum. Two young women walk by arm in arm, their laughter rising into the white air like steam. Neither notices you. You're grateful. Sometimes invisibility is a kindness. You lean back against the bench, eyes half closed, and let yourself drift just a little. There are moments when the noise inside you quiets, when you forget to measure your posture, to hold your jaw just so, to brace for the next thing. This is one of them. You're not anyone here. Not Mary the girl or Mary the worker. Just a person sitting in the cold, letting the day fall around her. When you finally rise, your legs are stiff and your hands tingling from the cold, but your head feels clear, like a window opened in a stuffy room. You retrace your steps slowly, back through the quiet streets and past the same frozen laundry and the man with the organ grinder. Though now, the song has changed. Something older. A lullaby, maybe. You can't place it. As you near the house, you see Betsy standing by the stoop, her arms full of kindling. She sees you and waves. Mrs. Winters said to light the hearth in your room. She calls, says you've earned it. You smile. Didn't know she was feeling generous today. Betsy shrugs, cheeks red from the cold. Might be the buns. You laugh, and the sound surprises you. Inside, the warmth hugs you like a shawl. Your fingers thaw slowly as you shed your cloak and boots. You leave the tart for Lily on her pillow with a note. Still warm. Barely. The fire in your room is already lit. Someone, probably Betsy, has placed a small copper kettle on the edge of the hearth, the water inside just beginning to hum. You sit in your chair by the flames, stockings drying on the rail, and close your eyes. Your body aches, but in the way a body does after walking a long way. Not broken, just used. You sip the tea you brew from the little pouch of chamomile you keep tucked behind a loose brick near the bed. It's a secret only Lily knows, and she's never told. The scent wraps around you. Soft, earthy, familiar. The light outside is fading now, gray deepening toward blue. Soon, the evening will come. Perfumes and corsets and customers with names that don't matter. But for now, you have your tea, you have your fire, and you have a bench in a park only you seem to visit. That, you think, is enough. The light outside thins slowly, as if being wrung from the day drop by drop. Shadows lengthen along the walls. The golden flicker of your hearth dances on the floorboards, warming a small circle of space just wide enough to sit in, cross-legged, tea in hand. You stay there a little longer, letting the heat soak into your knees and the scent of chamomile smooth your breath. But eventually, the spell breaks. A soft knock on the door signals that it's time. "Hour, girls," comes Mrs. Winters's voice from the hallway, clipped but not unkind. You stand. The quiet part of the day is ending now. The rest will be performance. You wash your face at the basin, hands cold again, the water smelling faintly of rose, not fresh roses, no one can afford that, but the old soap bar you keep wrapped in cheesecloth at the bottom of your drawer. A small luxury from your first month here, saved and used sparingly. You smooth the towel along your cheekbones, then open the wardrobe. The dresses are arranged by tone, dark to light, not because it matters, but because it helps. Tonight, you choose the plum one. It's a little tight at the bust now, but it drapes well, and the color flatters your skin when the lamplight hits just right. Corset next. You pull the laces snug, but not cruel. You've learned over time how to make it look proper without bruising yourself. You twist to the side, then reach for the small bottle of lavender oil tucked near your comb. One drop at each wrist, a dab behind the ear. The scent is soft, clean, the kind of smell that suggests comfort, domesticity even. It's not for the clients, it's for you. You sit before the mirror. It's a small oval, propped on the table, edges chipped. Your reflection in it is not sharp, more of a softened version of yourself, like looking back through water. You prefer it that way. Clear reflections show too much. You brush your hair slowly, 20 strokes out of habit. The bristles catch near the ends where the wind tangled it earlier. You work through the knots with your fingers first, gentle, patient, until the strands fall into place. Lily peeks her head in without knocking. "You decent?" "Always," you say, smiling. She enters in a swish of fabric. Her dress is sea green tonight, trimmed in black lace. She looks like a painting, or at least someone in one. "Thanks for the tart," she says, holding up the crumpled paper wrap. "Good?" "Gone," she replies. She drops onto the edge of your bed, pulling her boots on. "Emily's crying again," she murmurs, without looking at you. "In the washroom." You nod. "Anyone with her?" "Josephine, I think. She didn't want Sarah." Sarah always makes it worse with her math voice. You chuckle softly, then say nothing. There's nothing to say, sometimes. Just to know. You finish pinning your hair and smooth the front of your dress. The weight of the evening begins to settle on your shoulders, light at first, but steady. Downstairs, the front parlor is being prepared. You can hear the clink of glasses, the crackle of fire being coaxed higher. Someone is tuning the small piano, or pretending to. The scent of beeswax and burnt matches lingers in the air. You walk the hallway with Lily. The other girls emerge too, Josephine, pale but steady. Sarah, eyes sharp behind her small spectacles. Emily, red-eyed but freshly powdered. You all move together like birds gathering on a wire, a flock of different feathers, but aligned now by shared purpose. In the small salon beside the parlor, you wait. Mrs. Cartwright prefers that you're not just loitering about, so you sit, legs crossed, postures perfect, mouths closed unless spoken to. Tea is served in tiny cups, but none of you really drink it. Instead, you listen. Footsteps on the front step, voices at the door. Mrs. Cartwright greets the first guest herself. You can hear her tone shift, instantly sweeter, higher, a performance, not unlike yours. The bell chimes. Your name is called. You rise smoothly, smile. You don't look at the other girls. You never do. Once the shift begins, it breaks the illusion. The man in the foyer is familiar. Mr. Wilson, late 30s, well-dressed, smells like tobacco and starch. He greets you with a small nod and offers his arm. You take it. He doesn't speak much. That's fine. You know how to carry both sides of a conversation without making it feel like a monologue. You walk him to the parlor, pour him a drink, laugh gently at his small observations about the weather, the street, the quality of the chair cushions. He sits beside you, not too close yet. You ask if he'd like music. He shakes his head. He only wants to talk. You listen. You've learned how to tilt your head just so, how to make eye contact without challenging, how to rest your hand near, but not quite touching his. The conversation drifts from harmless to sad in a few minutes. It often does. He speaks of his mother's illness, of a promotion that didn't come, of a brother who no longer writes, of a loneliness that follows him even into warm rooms. You nod in all the right places, not because you're pretending to understand, but because you do, deeply, too well. You speak softly, not too many words. This is not sex, not yet. This is something quieter, older, a hunger beneath hunger. He places a coin on the table beside your hand, and you know what it means. You smile, and you stand. He follows. You walk slowly, letting him follow at his own pace. The creak of the stairs is softened by the thick rug, the hush of the house held tight like breath behind closed doors. In the hallway, all is quiet. You lead him to your room, not because it's personal, but because it's prepared. The fire's still glowing softly in the grate. The covers have been smoothed, the kettle removed. He enters and stands awkwardly near the window, hands in his pockets. You close the door behind you gently. You never lock it. That's not allowed. The room feels smaller now that it's shared. The same chair, same bed, same shadows on the wall, but they shift slightly when someone else stands inside them. He doesn't move at first. You give him time. You know this rhythm by now. The first pause, the polite hesitation, then the awkward practiced reaching, and finally, the forgetting. You walk past him, fingers brushing the windowsill as you go, then reach for the matches. One more candle is lit. The shadows soften further. You take his coat. He thanks you, voice low. Then it begins. There's nothing violent, nothing unexpected. Mr. Wilson is one of the gentler ones. He asks if your hands are warm. He comments on the room, the curtains. He removes his shoes carefully, like he's entering someone's home, not buying time. The intimacy is practiced on both sides. He kisses your cheek once, more from obligation than desire. Then the rest is quiet, familiar. A choreography you both know without needing to speak. You don't drift away, not exactly, but you fold yourself inward. There's a space inside you where you keep your breath, where your mind goes soft around the edges. You feel the pressure of him, the weight, the rhythm, but from a distance, like the hum of a train in another room. You watch the ceiling. The candle flickers slightly, casting its golden shape across the plaster above. The heat pools at your shoulder where the blanket rests. Your knee brushes the edge of the mattress frame. Your hands stay still. When it's over, he exhales like someone climbing down a hill. He doesn't say much after. Few of them do. He buttons his shirt again, his coat, smooths his hair, leaves 2 coins on the nightstand. You don't touch them until he's gone. As he opens the door, he hesitates. "You're very easy to talk to," he says. You smile, soft and non-committal. "That's kind of you." Then he leaves. You sit up, stay still for a long while. The fire pops gently. The room feels stretched thin, like it needs to be folded back into shape. You stand, cross the room, pour some of the lukewarm water from the jug into the basin. Rinse your hands, your wrists, your inner thighs. You use the clean cloth you keep under the bed, hidden from Betsy's laundry bin, a square of linen too worn to sell, but too soft to throw away. You press it to your skin like a whisper. Afterward, you lie back on the bed, not to sleep, but to rest. Downstairs, you hear faint music now. Someone's playing the piano after all. A slow tune, slightly off-key, but with effort behind it. Probably Sarah. She only plays when she's thinking. The notes drift up through the floorboards like smoke. You let them wash over you. You don't cry. You never do after clients. Not because you're strong, but because there's simply no use for tears at this hour. Instead, you listen. One girl is laughing, Josephine's voice, light but cracked at the edge. Another door opens. A man coughs in the hallway. You close your eyes, not to sleep, but to return to yourself. Eventually, you rise. The rules are strict. After one guest, you must return to the parlor in case another arrives. Mrs. Cartwright runs her house like a ledger. Time is a currency, and none is to be wasted. You change your chemise, retie your hair, dab a touch of lavender on your neck again, reapply the smallest hint of color to your lips. You check the mirror, just long enough to confirm the outline is still there. Then you descend. The parlor is warm, the hearth roaring. 2 men are speaking with Mrs. Cartwright, laughing too loudly. Sarah is reading aloud from the paper, doing different voices for each article, making Lily snort into her tea. Emily sits by the window, pale and thin, but alert, her posture rigid. You wonder if she's had a guest yet, or if she's still waiting. The waiting is worse. Josephine is curled in the corner with her feet tucked up, hands wrapped around a brandy glass. She smiles at you as you pass. A small smile, just eyes meeting eyes. Nothing spoken, but enough. You take your place, sit quietly, pour tea, cross your ankles. A man enters, older, alone. Your name is not called, not yet. You breathe, and you wait. Outside, the snow has stopped. The man who entered earlier chooses Josephine. You're almost relieved. She rises, elegant despite the stiffness in her movements, and leads him up the stairs with a small nod. The parlor settles again. You pour yourself another half cup of tea, lukewarm now, but you drink it anyway. There's a comfort in the ritual. China against fingertips, the slight tilt of your wrist, the faint sweetness of milk gone thin. Lily sits beside you. Neither of you speaks. It's late now, past the rush. Most clients have come and gone. The ones still lingering are half asleep or half drunk. Mrs. Cartwright watches everything from the armchair near the fire, a needlepoint in her lap, and a hawk's stillness behind her eyes. Eventually, she gives the signal, just a nod. The night is over. You rise and retreat upstairs, the stairwell creaking under the weight of tired feet. In your room, the fire's long faded. The air is cool, but not biting. You undress slowly, fingers stiff. Lay your dress carefully over the chair. Fold the stays of your corset like a map. Lily enters soon after, already yawning. "No one else tonight?" she asks. You shake your head. "Lucky." She nods and slips beneath her blanket. You crawl into bed as well, pulling the heavy wool cover up to your chin. The mattress dips slightly beneath your weight, the straw rustling like dry grass under a boot. Across the room, Lily's breathing deepens. You lie still and wait. Wind down begins. Your body feels far away now, the way it does only when it's been used and quieted. Muscles softening into the mattress, breath falling into rhythm with the ticking of the clock downstairs. Your fingers curl slightly at your sides, one knee bent just a little beneath the blankets, as if preparing to run, but not tonight. The room is still, not silent. There's always something. The faint moan of old pipes, the creak of settling wood, the distant clop of hooves outside. But it's the kind of noise that makes you feel more alone, in a good way. The kind of quiet that holds you. You think of the park bench, of the snow, of blackberry on your tongue and steam against your cheeks. You think of how no one looked at you there, and how that felt like being seen. You think of the tart you gave Lily, of Betsy's arms full of kindling, of Josephine's smile beneath her tired eyes, of the softness that still manages to survive here, between the cracks. The world narrows to warmth, to the dull weight of linen, to the echo of piano keys long since stilled. You close your eyes. Tomorrow will come. But for now, you are still here, and you are safe, just for tonight.